Welcome to the National Briefing. My name is Kelly Nash. We are very excited to present to you our, I believe it's trademarked, we're the only ones that have this, the special tool known as the BS Saw. We cut through the BS that the Democrats are sending your way and get to the heart of the matter. Yesterday, it was the astronauts' turn to throw around some BS. Mark Kelly, again, back on the campaign trail, trying to make his case that Donald Trump is issuing illegal orders. And let's go ahead with point number one. He had three you want to make. Point number one.
Based on who this president is and who the Secretary of Defense is, and specifically things that the president has said in the past and things he was talking about doing in the future. Let me give you an example. 2016, he's talking about something on a debate stage that was clearly illegal. And he was reminded by Brett Baier from Fox News that that would be an illegal order. Military won't do that. You know what the president's response was to that? The military will not refuse my orders.
Boy, that is chilling. A good time to have brought that up would have been 9 years ago when it happened. But either or, let's go back in the time machine. It's 2016, the debate stage filled with Republican candidates, and Ted Cruz will be referenced here. Brett Baier talking about waterboarding.
So what would you do as commander-in-chief if the U.S. military refused to carry out those orders?
They won't refuse. They're not going to refuse me, believe me.
But they're illegal.
Let me just tell you, you look at the Middle East, they're chopping off heads. They're chopping off the heads of Christians and anybody else that happens to be in the way. They're drowning people in steel cages. And now we're talking about waterboarding. This really started with Ted. A question was asked of Ted last 2 debates ago about waterboarding. And Ted was, having a hard time with that question, to be totally honest with you. They then came to me, what do you think of waterboarding? I said, it's fine. And if we want to go stronger, I'd go stronger too. Because frankly, that's the way I feel. Can you imagine these people, these animals over in the Middle East that chop off heads, sitting around talking and seeing that we're having a hard problem with waterboarding? We should go for waterboarding, and we should go tougher than waterboarding.
Now, the way I hear that is Donald Trump is saying they're not going to refuse it because they want to do it. The U.S. military wanted to waterboard these suspects to try to get the information. Now, later on, I think we came to a conclusion that waterboarding wasn't getting us the right information, that they were lying, and so they kind of stopped using it. But they weren't going to refuse Trump. Trump was saying, I'm taking the shackles off. We got to do whatever we can to stop these animals. They're not following any Geneva Convention rules over there. They're beheading us. They're setting us on fire. They're beheading Christians on the beach. We all saw those videos. By the way, proof's in the pudding. Donald Trump gets into office. Before he gets into office, literally hundreds of thousands of people are being murdered by ISIS, or as Barack Obama, he acknowledged their truth. They changed their name from ISIS to ISIL. He thought they were due that respect. So Obama only referred to them as ISIL moving forward. But anyway, Donald Trump gets into office in 2017. By December of 2018, there is no more ISIS. There might be some sort of fragment of them, but they're not really making the news anymore. They're not killing anybody. So Donald Trump wins yet again. How about Mark Kelly's second point?
He's also talked about shooting protesters in the legs.
No, he didn't. The only thing I would play you the audio if Donald Trump had said that, but he never said that. The only person who made that claim is Mark Esper. Mark Esper put it in a book, desperate to try to sell something to salvage his miserable career. And nobody seconded his, as Smokey Robinson would say, emotion. Nobody followed with him on that one. This is very similar to when, was it Milley on the plane claimed that as they were flying into Normandy, Trump said the only people who die fighting for this country are suckers and losers. And nobody would second that. Everybody said Trump has nothing but the utmost respect for the military. He, like most Americans, genuinely appreciates anybody who's willing to put their life on the line to defend the freedoms of the United States of America and make the world a safer place. But that was the claim. Joe Biden built the whole campaign off 2 lies. One, Donald Trump calls people who die in service to their country suckers and losers. My son Bo is not a sucker or a loser. He's a sucker and a loser. The other point was that in Charlottesville, Donald Trump said, oh, white supremacists are good people. He said good people are white supremacists. He actually went out of his way when he was making the claim there's good people on both sides of the issue regarding whether or not we should take down Civil War monuments. I can see both sides of this issue. Of course, I'm not talking about the white supremacists. You can go back and check that one. But that was how the BS that they threw at the time. Can we get to Mark Kelly's third point?
Then he's talking about deploying more troops to American cities and using those cities as training grounds. Do you know what that means? That means using the American people for the military to train on.
Are you serious? Donald Trump is going to come in and just start, shooting American citizens for no reason? Is that what he's talking about? Just training on oh, my God. Let's hear what Donald Trump actually said at Quantico to the military leaders.
Last month, I signed an executive order to provide training for a quick reaction force that can help quell civil disturbances. This is going to be a big thing for the people in this room because it's the enemy from within, and we have to handle it before it gets out of control. It won't get out of control. But I want to salute every service member who has helped us carry out this critical mission. It's really a very important mission. And I told Pete, we should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military. As president, I will never hesitate to defend our people from threats of violence, from the horrible plague that's taking place from within.
I'm pretty sure he actually had to swear an oath to that as well, right? That we will protect America and the Constitution from enemies, both foreign and domestic. We understood even 250 years ago that there was going to be people inside the United States that were going to try to destroy the United States. And we still have those people today, and they usually gather in large cities, and then they set those cities on fire, and they try to intimidate anybody and everybody. It's a form of terrorism. When they block off a major thoroughfare, that is a form of terrorism. And Donald Trump is going to protect Americans from the lunatics who are trying to destroy America. And all he was saying there is, hey, and we should study our most successful techniques that the National Guard ends up using. And then when we find those best techniques, we can share them with the military members so that when they're in other countries, they'll have the best practices. Doesn't really sound as radical when you hear it in that tone. But Mark Kelly, now that you've gone through your 3 points and you haven't said any illegal orders have been issued, Donald Trump has been the president from 2016 to 2025, 5 of those years. What illegal orders were you specifically talking about when you said the military should refuse them?
We were looking forward to try to head something off at the pass that could have been really, really bad. So it wasn't about this specific thing.
So there's been no illegal orders. So the only purpose of your video, as you just admitted, was to sow doubt. You just admitted there's no illegal orders. In case he ever says something that's illegal. Now, just so we're all clear, I see people on television right now in a very coordinated PR event between the Washington Post, New York Times, MS, More Socialism Now, all these networks and whatnot are talking about, is it a war crime? What's happening? Did Pete have the second strike to kill people? That's illegal. And we're going to hold these people accountable. Maybe not during the Trump administration. Donald Trump himself will not be held accountable. But everybody else underneath him will be. I mean, once there's a new regime change, unfortunately, you're all going to have to go to prison because you listen to Donald Trump. But there has not been. Senator Kelly just confirmed what's happening in Venezuela is legal. It's all legal. Now, I'll take you back to Barack Obama. Barack Obama ordered a drone strike on a U.S. citizen without any due process. What did he have to say about that?
I do not believe it would be constitutional for the government to target and kill any U.S. citizen with a drone or with a shotgun without due process. Nor should any president deploy armed drones over U.S. soil. But when a U.S. citizen goes abroad to wage war against America and is actively plotting to kill U.S. citizens, and when neither the United States nor our partners are in a position to capture him before he carries out a plot, his citizenship should no more serve as a shield than a sniper shooting down on an innocent crowd should be protected from a SWAT team.
I agree with Barack Obama, and I have to entrust that the intelligence that the U.S. military and government had at that time on Anwar al-Awlaki was correct, that he was plotting to kill U.S. citizens, and we didn't see any other way to stop the plan other than killing him. Now, it may have been a bit overkill, a lot of people forget this, that 2 weeks later, we went back and drone striked his son, who was 16 at the time. Maybe that was a bit of overkill. The military later said that was a mistake. I'm not really sure how you make that mistake. You already got al-Awlaki. But neither here nor there. In order to make an omelet, got to crack a few eggs. Might have to kill a few U.S. citizens who are plotting against the United States. Barack Obama was correct there. And Mark Kelly needs to recognize that all you're doing right now is trying to sow division in the U.S. military. This is what a soft coup would look like. Not saying it's a soft coup, just saying soft coups look like this, Senator Kelly.